Hi, my name's Diane, and you're currently watching Just Kidding Around. We want to thank you so much for joining us. Each week, we introduce our home viewers to different crafts and hobbies that can be done by people of various ages. A few weeks ago, we brought on Lewie Bloom, and he came on this show to teach us a few things about dahlias, and we have asked him to be on the show again. Hi, Lewie.
How are you, Diane?
Louie's rejoined us because so many people commented on that show. Seems that you're quite well known for your dahlias.
Yes, I feel very proud about the fact that I would be known and have lots of friends in Australia, New Zealand, and England. And even if I went to South Africa, I could find a friend down there.
Wow, because of your dahlias.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, you might have noticed that the opening credits were over an outdoor garden, and that was Louie's garden. I was fortunate enough to go there this past summer and tape just a few of his shows. I'm sorry, just a few of his flowers to have on the show. And Lewie, would that be okay if we played that tape and if you talked over it? And
Yes, I'd be glad to do that. I may have a moment's pause at times when I can't recognize something.
oh,
but
that's all right.
I'd be glad to go ahead.
Okay, so if people in the control room, Tom, could you put that tape in, please? And this is Mr. Lewie Bloom's garden you're going to be seeing. Thank you. Okay, Lewie, can you tell us what type of flower we're looking at right now?
Well, this is the formal deck flower, and Diane, I have to tell you that the finishing of that was not very good in comparison to what the flower really is as to color. But most of it came off. But when flowers are in the sun and you take pictures of them direct on, now that flower there is yellow as can be. That's Edna C. Very yellow flower.
I like the back of that Edna C, the way it kind of flowers.
Yes,
the petals go backwards.
You caught a beautiful picture of that. It's coming up yet. Shows that flower. Flower was produced by Mr. Comstock from Salina, California. And you will notice, if you look carefully, it has what the hairdoers called the bouffant hairdo, which is very stylish. It interlaces on the back. That flower is very yellow, and taking seed from that flower, my friend Mick Sr. got this flower, and this is called Spartacus. And while Edna C is a formal decorative, this is an informal decorative because it's a little rough as far as the petals is concerned.
That's amazing. Now, I see an umbrella there. What is the purpose of the umbrella?
Well, Spartacus needs a little help as far as the shade is concerned. And so normally, if I was going to show Spartacus, I probably would put an umbrella up on Monday, take it down Thursday evening, and let it mature in the shade, and then of course early Friday morning I would cut that flower and stage it for a show, which would be on Saturday.
Okay. Now what are we looking at now?
Well, this again is a flower. I don't have a flower that color, and so I'm sure that it probably was an orange flower. I don't know how it got there, but this is Santa Claus, which is a bicolored flower, and it was grown from a seed by Harold Miller. Same time that Harold got this flower, he got Mrs. Santa Claus, which was orange and white. But Mrs. Santa Claus, the seeds, the tubers didn't keep, and so in a few years it was gone.
And this is a close-up of Santa Claus,
yes,
right?
And Diane, you've done a wonderful job of taking that picture. Probably if you entered that at the right place, at the right time, you could win a national prize.
Well, thank you, Lewie. I like Santa Claus. I enjoyed filming that one. It's pretty.
It's been around for about 12 or 14 years. Harold called most of his flowers Puget something. He now lives at Issaquah. He did live at Redmond, but he decided Santa Claus didn't need any title in front, I guess, and so it was just named Santa Claus.
I might have got carried away on Santa Claus. Looks like I've got quite a few pictures. So
yes.
This was developed by a man that lives in Issaquah, huh?
Yes. And There are lots of forms of flowers, and in fact, there are about 15 distinct colors, and there are 13 forms of flowers of the dahlia. Originally, it started from only 2 species, and they were thumb size. This is a picture of Humeria cord. Humeria cord is a semi-cactus, medium-sized dahlia, and anytime someone raises a good semi-cactus, immediately, if you're an expert, you say, how does it compare in form with Humeria cord? Because it's absolutely the standard. It's perfect as far as form is concerned.
So now on the semi-cactus, their petals are sort of in a tight...
They roll back.
Roll back, okay.
As much as 40%.
40%.
And if you take a side picture of Humeria cord, you see how it rolls back from top to bottom. And most flowers flatten, the petals flatten before they get to the bottom.
Okay.
And so it's a very big winner. Notice that. See how those petals look the same from the top to the bottom?
So this is still the Humeria cord, and
Yes.
they're rolling back 40%.
And it is yellow, and of course, in the sun with the camera, you're liable to get a white flower. Now this is the same flower as we have up here, comes from New Zealand,
Okay.
and it's a
Is that a semi-cactus?
no, that's called a cactus.
That's the cactus, because it seems to roll back tighter.
Yes, it rolls back tighter, and as it goes down, it rolls back. And I'm sure that this first name is a Maori name, and the last of it may be if the Maoris were here, they might call it a tie at the end, and just tear a tie.
Okay, so the cactus and the semi-cactus both roll backwards, but one has a tighter roll. This must be a cactus, right?
Yes, and of course the incurve cactus is just like the straight cactus. There's one there. That's a yellow incurve cactus. I raised that from seed. It's called Bloom's Wildwood, and it's a very good show flower. It had the highest score of any new dahlia at the Tacoma Tile Garden when it was there.
Okay.
Now there we are back again with this same flower that's in the vase up here on the table, and
And that is a cactus.
Yes, I got very attracted to it when I went to the national show in Eugene a year ago, and the lady won best basket of the show at that time with,
Okay.
with that flower.
This isn't a cactus we're looking at. Now, what is this?
Now this is a ball dahlia, and you notice that the petals, if you pull the petals out, they are quill shaped. On a formal deck, they are not quite a quill, but this, if you were to take out a petal at about the 4th level, that's the clue as to where it is. Now there's the ball dahlia, and that incidentally is the pom-pom. And everybody says pom-pom, but it is pom-pon.
Oh, you're kidding. I didn't know that. Huh.
And that's hallmark, and it of course it is 2 inches or less in size.
In diameter, you mean?
In diameter.
Okay.
So we have the pom-pom and the miniature ball, which is this one up here on this table here, and it's in the pictures, and then the regular ball, and all of them have the same characteristic of petals.
And is this the
Yes. Now,
standard then?
there's the miniature ball.
The miniature, okay.
Right there. And we're back now to hallmark, which is pink, but pink in the sun is liable to look just like that looks.
Well, it was a very hot day that I was at your place, and you're getting ready for a show. So
Yes.
that's why they're in these containers.
Yes, and those smaller ones there are also miniature balls, but they're on the small side of the miniature ball. A miniature ball can be anything over 2 inches.
Okay.
And not over 3.5 inches.
It's amazing how neat and compact they are.
Yes.
You know?
You can bet that the first person that grew one of these from seed was really surprised. Later on, we're going to show you what the form of the original species of dahlias. There we're coming to it. There's the form of the original species, about thumb size. And here the professional photographer and the professional flower grower tangle up a little bit about what's good and bad, but it's interesting.
Well, to me, they were all beautiful. There
Yes.
it went.
And this is what we would call in form a single, because it just has petals and a center.
I think the photographer got a little confused there. I'm sorry.
And it's also, it's called mignon dahlias.
Beautiful.
They're small in size, and I checked on the kinds of mignons in the books because I'd never been overly interested, and I found that there were 17
Really?
different named mignons on a color basis.
They're much tinier than the big
Yes.
ones. Oh, back to the big guy now.
And here we come to a water lily dahlia, and this is Wildwood Marie, and as far as I'm concerned, Wildwood Marie is the standard for dahlias. It has a dome center. It's supposed to have a rounded petal, and we say it has space between the petals, but the Australians do it much better. They say you have to have air between the petals. And we'll show you several pictures of Wildwood Marie. There you see the space between the petals.
Yeah.
And the bottom row is not supposed to droop way down, and the bottom row on that one does not droop way down. If it droops way down, then it's not a good water lily form.
I love the water lilies.
Yes.
Oh.
And I think it's easy to see why they were called water lilies, because someone just grew it from seed and said, "Come over here,
Yeah.
look at this new one." And the person said, "Wow,
Yeah.
you cut that off and throw it in the water and it looks like a water lily."
You can tell the two flowers I like, the Santa Claus and the water lily. I think I got a lot of shots of those two.
Yes.
I got quite a few of that. These are the ones you were actually taking in that pot.
Yes.
Now what is this one?
And this one is a novelty dahlia, and you notice the petals curl forward. This is all away candy. I feel very attached to it because the originator of it was Jock Stitt in New Zealand, and when he showed it to me, I said, "Jock, send me one of these." And he said, "That's no good." He said, "I just grow it for Ilda." His wife was Hilda. And so he brought it over. It was classified. I was a novice, as informal deck. When I examined it, it said no award, poor form. It disappeared a number of years. Another eager beaver of ours brought it over. She was a novelty grower. Someone said, "It's a wonderful novelty." And now it's the winningest novelty in the world.
Oh, wonderful. And you brought it to this country.
Yes.
Now this is just sort of a wide shot of
Yes, this
your yard.
is a shot, and I grew these especially this year. This is the first year I had this patch or garden. I wanted low-growing dahlias so that people could observe them, because the road is only 10 or 15 feet from this row of dahlias. And
Now how many dahlia plants do you have at your current place?
I think now about 60 different ones, but some of them are hidden behind the garage and so on, so they're not out to the public to any great extent. Now we're coming up on this dahlia, which I grew new about 3 years ago, and it's called Blooms, and then a capital X and a capital L, and if you say XL, that's what it does. And it was judged the best new dahlia of that size in the United States. And so I have the silver medal for it.
Oh, I think that was the end of that
and here
tape,
are the
because that
both.
wasn't a
Yeah.
dahlia. Our shot wasn't a dahlia. Well, it was sure a treat going to your home. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Now, how would a person go about buying tubers? Do they sell them in the stores, or can you only buy seeds?
Yes, our club has a tuber pack along in March, and then we consign them to a lot of local nurseries, and they give us 60%, and they take 40% for selling them. They're all labeled, and they're all true to type, and they have a standard, somewhat low price, normally about, I think maybe this year they'd be $2.98 a tuber, but there is a picture on the whole package.
Okay.
It also gives instructions of how they plant. And
So a person can either buy by seed or go to a nursery and buy a tuber. And then if they wanted more information, would the public library be any help to them?
not a great deal. It might be some. And remember that if you are interested in finding out more about dahlias, the Evergreen State Dahlia Association meets the first Monday in the month in the Lacey Senior Center. First Monday in the month.
Where is the Lacey Senior Center?
It's out in Lacey. I couldn't give you an exact location of
Okay.
it, but if you go out there.
Is that brown building on Golf Club Road?
No, it's close to Golf Club Road.
Okay. Oh,
And it is the brown building, and so you'd be welcome. You don't have to join, but you could find out a lot about dahlias.
About how many people are in this organization?
Well, I think probably about 35.
30. Do you have some names you want to mention for people
Well,
that maybe have created or?
The person right now that's the most important is Dan Pearson, who is our president.
Okay.
And Dan is interesting because at about an 8-year-old, he was selling tubers down in the farmer's market.
Oh my goodness.
And he kept the money so he could go through Washington State College, and he's now through Washington State College, and he is our president.
Oh, that's a great story. That's a great story. And thanks for that information. So the first Monday of each month at the Lacey Senior Centers, people can meet with what's the name of your club?
Evergreen State.
Evergreen State Dahlias. Okay. And do you want to talk a few minutes about these magazines that we have in front of us?
Well, these magazines, especially the ones that say Dahlias Today,
Okay.
this is the most numerous publication in the world.
Okay, there. Thank you,
Of
Bruce.
one publication.
Can we keep that up? I think he's got a little
Yes.
close-up of
And
that.
we have a lot of different forms in dahlias here, and normally the editorial board picks out some new flower. It's
Okay.
always some new one.
I recognize this flower. You have that flower in your yard, don't you? Isn't that the water lily that I took so many pictures of? I'm gonna
Yes,
lay
I
this
don't think
down.
it is that
Is
water
that?
lily, but
it is a water lily.
Yes.
This one right here.
Yes.
And then is this Spartacus right here?
This is Spartacus, yes.
This one right here, Spartacus. So they feature different dahlias.
Yes, and over here we have a Fidalgo Climax.
I don't think I can reach that.
Yes,
But-
and here is one, an anemone dahlia, which is a form. And it's interesting because it's just a big pin cushion in the middle of it.
I don't know if that's one of my favorites, but
No,
it's interesting.
Not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I lucked out once and made the front page with,
Oh, is this your flower?
yes, that's Bloom's
Oh.
Bronze Rays.
Oh, so you propagated this?
Yes.
I learned that the last show. Wow, wonderful.
That was some time ago, but I
Okay, so this one he actually created. Is
yes.
that right?
And at the same time, Gordy LaRue created the one on the back the same
Okay,
year.
I can turn that around. I don't know
And
if
that's
this is good.
Kenora Fireball,
Okay.
and it's the ball dahlia.
All right.
And it was a very good one. But all of a sudden, after a few years, it started throwing yellow petals, which is quite common with red. They'll show yellow petals. And
Oh,
so
interesting.
it's fallen on complete disfavor now.
Okay. Now I want to ask you, when I was at your garden, I noticed that most of the leaves were untouched by insects. Do dahlias take a lot of work? How do you
Well,
protect them from
I think
varmints?
if you grow a dahlia garden in one place for a number of years, all of the bugs will invite all of their cousins in.
Oh.
And so you have it. But out in where I am now, probably no one was raising any dahlias, and so it was wonderful. I sprayed, and I didn't really need to spray.
Wow.
But I'm looking for them to move in a bit next year.
Oh, because the
And,
leaves were beautiful. Also, on your competition, as you cut them, and on your competition dahlias, I noticed that you had was it 2 or 3 leaves that you always left?
You always have to show one pair of leaves. Quite often we might cut more, but we show a flower and a pair of leaves. And the interesting thing about that is that the flower is supposed to tip forward at a 45-degree angle, and the leaves are to be from right angle to that.
Oh.
That gets you perfect.
They are so picky. So if you have a beautiful specimen, you can't use it for show unless the leaves are pointed the right direction.
Well, you can use it, but you'll be discounted and you may not win. And so it does get very picky.
Extremely picky. Before the show started, as we were waiting for the cameras to get going, Lewie was telling me that he was in one show where there was it 77 specimens
Yes.
of the same flower?
Yes.
And do you want to show him the ribbon that you won?
Well,
Can we hold that up?
This is the ribbon that I won, but of course I also won a big trophy I got my name on that for 1 year, and that's a permanent trophy. And then I won $75. So
You're amazing.
that was a fairly good winning for that time.
Well, and it's not easy to win in these
Yes.
competitions. The flowers have to be perfect. The leaves have to be perfect. They have to be exactly at the right angle.
But the biggest challenge flower contest we ever had was with Wildwood Marie. 164 of them came, and they were across the top of the bleachers there.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I didn't win first, but we won second and third and fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh.
Oh my goodness, but not
I took,
first, huh?
you could take as many as you wanted. I took 13 flowers.
Oh my goodness, isn't that something? Well, I mentioned this on the last show. I hope this doesn't embarrass you, but I want to mention this again. We only have about a minute and a half, but I wanted the home viewers to know that Lewie Bloom is the person that created or propagated the flower that was the state centennial flower. Isn't that right?
Yes.
So you got a lot of attention with that, and that even went on to win Best in the Nation that year, didn't it?
Well, it scored the highest. In other words, when you get a flower accepted for the publication, they give it a score. And it got the highest score in the state of Washington, and that allowed me to call it centennial. But it also got the highest score of any new flower in the United States.
I think that's wonderful. So you're quite an amazing person. Now, do you want to say something in the last few minutes about either of the flowers that you brought today?
Well, these I grew from seed, and this is called Bloom's Betty, named after a dear friend of ours, Betty Popersky, who grew flowers still grows dahlias, but doesn't show because her husband is an invalid now. Oh. But this is a miniature ball dahlia, and of course it has about as beautiful red color as you can get. It's semi-non-fading, and so I'm very happy with that, and I'm sure Betty's very happy with that.
It's beautiful. What an honor to her that you would name a flower after. And then this is one of the cactus, right?
Yes, and that of course comes from New Zealand. Marnie and I visited in the garden of those people that produced that.
That's so exciting. And
Yes.
you have friends all over the world because of your dahlias.
Well, yes, we for a few years we went to the big shows. We went to the 100th anniversary show in London in 1981. In fact, I was a tour director, and it was a real fun time.
Wow.
We took about 30 people from the United States, and at that time I bought these buttons.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes, and I never realized that the button was going to be worth so much.
Yeah.
When we got over there, they were charging £7.50
Oh, my
to get
goodness.
in, and they said, "Go on in."
How about that?
And then we went up to another big show, and I got up in the morning, and the line was 3.5 blocks long. They were
Oh.
charging £5, and somebody came along and said, "Hey there, mister, up and
believe
in the
that?
gate."
Well, we're going to have to close now. Thank you for visiting our show. We feel honored to have you. Thank you to our home viewers for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Diane. It was fun.